A snowstorm is expected to impact many areas, especially in the northeastern and southeastern United States. This storm will affect Pennsylvania, Maryland, and New Jersey on Sunday, bringing snow and mixed precipitation. Over the next 36 hours, the storm will move north and east. Starting in Kentucky and West Virginia, snow accumulation will range from 2 to 10 inches, especially in mountainous regions. Areas like New York City and Philadelphia are expected to receive 2 to 4 inches of snow. In the South, there's a possibility of snow along the Gulf Coast, with Louisiana and Texas expecting 3 to 7 inches of snow. However, the snow will be heavy and wet, leading to lower snow to liquid ratios. In the north, temperatures will drop below zero, starting in Minnesota and North Dakota and spreading to Mississippi and Arkansas. This cold air mass will create a widespread cold weather pattern across the country. Great to see you on this Saturday evening. I've got another update for you as we continue monitoring the models, changes, and tweaks in the forecast for our two upcoming major winter storms, one tomorrow and another starting early next week, that are set to impact many in the Deep South and bring record snow to areas that rarely see it. So definitely stay tuned as we dive into all of that. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell for the latest notifications to keep you up to date with all the changing model guidance. I do expect some tweaks to the forecast before everything is said and done, so make sure you've got that bell turned on to be the first to know about those changes. All right, folks, with that said, let's dive right into it. Also, let me know in the comments where you're watching from, whether you're in the Northeast, the Southeast, along the Gulf Coast, or somewhere else in the country. We'd love to hear from you. Now, let's get into the data and give you the latest information. Right next to me is the latest European model run from this afternoon. It highlights the double threat of winter weather in the Northeast and the Deep South. Tomorrow's storm won't be a picnic. Some areas could see anywhere from half a foot to a foot of snow. While much of the conversation has focused on the southern storm coming up, which will bring its own impacts, both storms will cause significant disruptions, as shown clearly in this model. This is brand new, folks, so I figured I'd bring it up and share it with you. Let me adjust the screen here. There we go. This is the winter storm outlook from NOAA, showing the potential for winter weather from our second storm. See all that red? Now that indicates a high likelihood of winter storm criteria being met, including places like Raleigh, Atlanta, Myrtle Beach, Jackson, Mississippi, and nearly the entire state of Louisiana. This is going to be a major event. It's not being overhyped. This truly will be significant. With Arctic air in place, anything that falls will stick and stay for a while, leaving a wintry landscape in areas along the Gulf Coast and southeastern coastline that rarely see snow. Current alerts are starting to fill in on the map as we approach the storm system. For storm number 1, you can already see advisories and warnings across the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and even parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, which will see accumulating snowfall tomorrow. Meanwhile, areas in Texas, Louisiana, and southern Mississippi are under winter storm watches for the first time in 11 years. This storm is shaping up to be historic, not only for its impacts, but also for how rare such weather is in the Deep South. Now, let's break down these storm systems. Starting with the first one, overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning, we're already seeing rain in the east and winter weather in the interior Northeast and the Ohio River Valley. However, the real action begins tomorrow morning. By 8 a.m., low pressure will start deepening over the Carolinas, interacting with an Arctic air mass spilling in from Canada. Snow will begin falling in Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and parts of southern Ohio, where a few inches of accumulation are expected. The cold condition will prevent any melting at the surface, so anything that falls will stick. As the day progresses, the storm will continue strengthening along the coast, taking on a nor'easter-like track, While it won't reach the intensity of a 960 millibar low, it will still pack enough punch to bring significant impacts, even as a relatively quick moving system. Now let's look at the timing and snowfall totals so you're fully prepared. Quick note, if you're around this evening, join me live at 7 p.m. I'll be joined by BGWX, a meteorology expert with his own YouTube channel and a strong presence on Twitter. He's based in the Northeast and is an absolute whiz at breaking down winter weather. If you're in that region, bring your questions. We'll dive deep into the meteorology and analyze this storm system in detail. So mark your calendars. 7 p.m. tonight, we'll have that for you and probably go for an hour or two. So if you can't join right at 7 o'clock, feel free to swing by later, even at 7:30. All right, let's talk about the storm now. Here's a quick overview of what to expect. By tomorrow afternoon, around noon, snow will start breaking out from D.C. into Baltimore and across much of the DMV area. Western Maryland and nearly the entire state of West Virginia will also see snow. Moving into the afternoon, around 3 p.m., Philadelphia, New Jersey, and northern Delaware will begin to see snowfall. Folks, this could bring heavy snowfall rates. This won't be light snow. It's shaping up to be a moderate to heavy snow event for this corridor. By sunset, New York City will start to get in on the action. Overnight, Boston, Hartford, Bridgeport, and Providence will see significant snowfall with heavy snow rates likely. It's shaping up to be a classic I-95 snowstorm with conditions intensifying later into the evening around 10 or 11 p.m. Snow will begin tapering off for areas like Philadelphia, Baltimore, and D.C., but it will still be going strong in Boston, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Hampshire, and Maine. By Monday morning, the storm will be mostly done with just some leftover snow on the backside. Lake effect snow will also kick in for parts of New York, Michigan, and other typical trouble spots, adding to what has already been a very active lake effect winter season. Now let's talk about snowfall totals. Here's the latest forecast from the National Weather Service, which combines input from their local offices across the country. In the South, the mountains of North Carolina will see some snow, particularly along northwest-facing slopes. The upper French Broad River Valley, north of Asheville, is also likely to get good snowfall totals. Around Boone, snow is expected. In eastern Kentucky, especially areas like Pikeville, might see 2 to 4 inches. Totals really ramp up as you move into the mountains of West Virginia, where winter storm warnings are already in effect. Expect anywhere from half a foot to a foot of snow there. In Ohio, Indiana, central Kentucky, and central Tennessee, this likely won't be a big storm, but a quick dusting to an inch is possible. The real action will be in the Northeast. Trends today have been favorable for heavier snow along the I-95 corridor. The National Weather Service's forecast leans a bit more inland for the heaviest totals, but the latest models have brought the snow line slightly south and east. Cities like Philadelphia, Baltimore, and New York are in the 2 to 5 inch range, while Boston could see closer to half a foot or more, especially west of the city. Western Massachusetts and the Hudson River Valley are also likely to see significant accumulations, with totals approaching 6 to 8 inches or more. For higher-end snowfall potential, the latest GFS model shows some isolated totals in the double digits, 10 to 12 inches, particularly in western Massachusetts, the Hudson Valley, and northern New Jersey. New York City and Philadelphia could see 6 inches, while Boston may get between 6 and 10 inches. This higher-end scenario is certainly possible, but the more realistic forecast is closer to the National Weather Service's projections. That said, the storm could surprise us. If it moves too quickly, snowfall totals might be lighter, with 2 to 4 inches for most areas. Regardless, nearly everyone along the I-95 corridor is likely to see snow with localized variations. Snowfall forecasting in this region is always challenging and exciting, as so many people are impacted and pay close attention to how accurate the forecasts turn out. This will likely be a moderate winter storm by Northeast standards, bringing a solid snow event to the region. Now that sets the stage for what's next. Brutal cold and a southern snow threat early next week. Let's quickly take a look at the cold temperatures. If you haven't been keeping up, it's going to get very cold. Monday afternoon, high temperatures. Check this out, folks. Monday is going to be downright frigid with high temperatures below freezing all the way down to cities like Charlotte, Atlanta, and Birmingham, even Little Rock and the Texas Panhandle. The Ohio Valley will see single-digit highs, while parts of the northern plains will struggle to even hit 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Bone-chilling cold is on the way, and with wind factored in, the feels-like temperatures will be even lower than what you see here. Tuesday morning lows. The cold lingers as we wake up Tuesday morning. Low temperatures will drop into the teens across the deep south, single digits through the Ohio Valley, and potentially below minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit in parts of North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. For this time of year, which is already the coldest, it's about as extreme as it gets. The freezing line will even push into northern Florida. Places like Gainesville could dip below freezing Tuesday morning. Now, let's talk about the storm setup. I won't go super in depth here, but I'll cover the basics. For more details, tune into the live stream tonight. We've got a big trough swinging through, bringing cold air already in place. This is a long wave trough, but it's broken into two distinct segments. One is a strong trough in one region, and the other is a secondary trough. How these two interact will be critical in determining the strength of the storm. Along the Gulf Coast and up through the Carolinas, we're seeing very high baroclinic instability. In simple terms, the conditions are extremely favorable for low pressure systems to form and intensify. Possible scenarios. If the trough aligns well with the baroclinic instability, we could see a major, potentially historic storm, especially for southern regions. If the trough orientation is less favorable, this would still be a significant winter storm by southern standards, but not record-breaking. Right now, we're confident that there will be a storm. The magnitude, however, remains the question. Model insights. The latest European model suggests a robust storm potential. There's a key piece of upper level energy to watch, a smaller southern feature and a stronger northern feature. If the northern feature tilts negatively sooner, a process that enhances storm development, this could result in a much stronger system, especially for the Carolinas, which have significant boom potential. Eastern North Carolina in particular could see historic snowfall if everything aligns correctly. There's also potential for substantial snow in Louisiana, with areas like New Orleans possibly seeing rare winter weather. However, sleet could be an issue near New Orleans. Sneak peek at snowfall totals. High-end upper-level energy combined with extreme cold air is a recipe for southern snow, and that's exactly what we're expecting. The latest European model shows snow developing in East Texas and Louisiana, and by early Tuesday morning, including cities like Houston and New Orleans. While snow in New Orleans is shown on this model, I'm skeptical. It's possible the area sees sleet instead. Either way, winter weather is expected to reach all the way to the Gulf Coast. Tuesday afternoon, snow spreads into southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and up toward Atlanta by Tuesday afternoon. Even some light snow has made its way into the western Carolinas, including Greenville, Spartanburg, and Asheville. While this model doesn't show a major storm for you folks, snow is still expected nonetheless. As the storm intensifies and moves up the coast, we see the potential for significant impacts in areas like Columbia, South Carolina, Florence, South Carolina, and parts of South Central Georgia, including Macon and Warner Robins. Fayetteville, North Carolina, and areas along the Doctino 95 corridor toward Raleigh could also experience significant snowfall if conditions align as indicated by the European model. Further south, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, and even Savannah could face a significant winter storm. Snow is likely, with some sleet possibly mixing in and along the coastal areas of the Carolinas. The storm continues to intensify as it moves northward, bringing snow to southeastern Virginia, including Newport News, Richmond, and Virginia Beach, as well as into the Delmarva Peninsula and southern New Jersey. This storm system is expected to taper off by Wednesday morning, wrapping up what could be a notable weather event, especially considering how far south the snow may track. Now let's shift to the GFS model. While the GFS also starts with significant snow in Louisiana and Texas, it's something all models currently agree on. It diverges from the European model when it comes to the boom potential. The GFS predicts a lighter to moderate winter weather event for areas such as Columbia, Fayetteville, and Florence, as well as much of eastern North Carolina. Even coastal regions like Rocky Mount, Greenville, and the Outer Banks may see some snow. But the system on this run doesn't intensify as much, resulting in a weaker storm overall. Let's take a look at one more model, the NAM. We're now approaching mesoscale range, which allows us to examine more detailed data. The NAM model begins showing snow and ice developing in Texas and Louisiana by late Tuesday morning into the afternoon. As the system advances, heavy ice appears in the Florida Panhandle and southern Georgia, with a sleet-snow mix impacting coastal areas of South Carolina from Beaufort to Myrtle Beach. Inland areas like Fayetteville, Florence, and Columbia could see significant snowfall, potentially breaking records in regions that haven't experienced substantial snow events in years. Confidence in snowfall totals is higher in parts of Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, where 3 to 6 inches of snow appears likely. Cities like New Orleans may receive a sleet-snow mix, resulting in 1 to 3 inches of accumulation. In Houston, snowfall of 2 to 3 inches could bring the city to a standstill due to the lack of snow removal infrastructure. Let's see how this all pans out as we head into late next week. I'm not sure if we'll be dealing with another storm, but let's focus on getting through this one first. The GFS model also picks up on the storm we're tracking as we move into Sunday. There's moisture along the Gulf Coast moving eastward, and a closer look at the snow in the Northeast shows it starting to pick up across southeastern Pennsylvania on Sunday afternoon. This storm brings significant snowfall to areas like western Maryland, southeastern Pennsylvania, and parts of New Jersey. In New Jersey, there's likely to be some mixing as indicated by the yellow areas on high resolution models. This suggests a potential mix of precipitation types. Winter storm warnings are in effect, surrounded by winter weather advisories. For example, the National Weather Service in New York has issued winter weather advisories for Long Island, while northward areas like Hartford and parts of New Jersey are under winter storm warnings. Snow accumulation is expected, with areas like Kentucky and West Virginia seeing snow spreading into southwestern Virginia and western North Carolina. Accumulations in these regions are forecasted to range from 2 to 4 inches, with localized higher amounts of 6 to 10 inches possible in the mountains. Near Washington, D.C., snow totals taper off, with 2 to 4 inches closer to Charlottesville and minimal accumulation near Richmond. Further north, places like Philadelphia and New York City could see 2 to 4 inches of snow, with isolated areas possibly getting 5 inches. North of this line in northwest New Jersey, the Poconos, and parts of New York, totals could approach a foot. Similarly, the mountains of Vermont, New Hampshire, and western Massachusetts could see 8 to 10 inches, with heavier snow likely across Maine, where some areas may see close to a foot. In the south, a low pressure system moving across the Gulf Coast is expected to bring snow. The European model suggests a more suppressed system, but there's still uncertainty. Operational model runs show significant snowfall amounts in some areas, but factors like ground melting and snow compaction could affect totals, with snow to liquid ratios expected to be 6 to 1 or 8 to 1. The snow will likely be heavy and wet. There's also potential for snow along the coasts of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Ensemble models show a 30% to 50% chance of more than 6 inches in some areas. For East Texas and Louisiana, accumulations could reach 3 to 5 inches, though some models suggest up to 7 inches in localized areas. The heaviest snow will likely occur along and north of the I-10 corridor. Across the country, the cold weather pattern persists, with temperatures dropping below zero in the northern plains and single digits extending into Arkansas and Mississippi. By Tuesday and Wednesday, this cold air mass shifts eastward, bringing some of the coldest temperatures of the season to parts of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and the Northeast. Freezing temperatures are expected all the way down to the Gulf Coast. However, I've been tracking weather models like this for years, and I appreciate your support. Moreover, the Arctic air mass in place will prevent any rapid melting, keeping snow on the ground for several days. Further east, confidence decreases as we move into Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas. According to the European Ensemble, there's a high likelihood of at least an inch of snow along coastal areas from North Carolina to the Florida Panhandle. However, shifting storm tracks and warm air intrusions could affect precipitation types in these areas, potentially leading to a mix of sleet and snow along the beaches. For those seeking the best chance of significant snowfall without ice concerns, areas like Columbia, Florence, and Augusta in South Carolina, as well as South Central Georgia and Eastern North Carolina, appear to be in the sweet spot. These regions are more likely to experience prolonged snowfall with minimal sleet or freezing rain interference. Meanwhile, Atlanta, Greenville, Spartanburg, and Charlotte remain trickier to forecast. Precipitation amounts and temperatures will play a critical role in determining snowfall totals, and trends in the models will need to be closely monitored in the coming days. Farther north, the Delmarva Peninsula in southeastern Virginia could also see substantial snowfall if the storm hugs the coast. Southern New Jersey is another area to watch, but details remain uncertain as we await more data. Finally, snowfall totals back in Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi, 3 to 6 inches of snow is becoming increasingly likely. New Orleans may see 1 to 3 inches of sleet snow mix, while Houston could receive 2 to 3 inches. These amounts, while moderate, are enough to cause significant disruptions in these areas due to a lack of preparation and infrastructure for winter weather. Confidence in snowfall totals decreases eastward into Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas, but areas along the I-95 corridor, including Raleigh, look promising for significant snow accumulation. Cities like Charlotte face a 40 to 50% chance of measurable snowfall, with higher probabilities in areas south and east of the city, such as Union County and Wadesboro. As the storm develops, we'll continue to monitor changes in the forecast. Be sure to tune in to the live stream tonight at 7 p.m. for the latest updates. And guys, EM Ketwil, subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell to stay informed. Stay safe, stay warm, and I'll see you tomorrow.